Thank you for joining us. I'm Linda Brayman. COVID-19 has affected everyone's life. Although the governor lifted her stay-at-home order a month ago, it appears that the number of cases are still gradually rising. So please be extremely careful whenever you go out. But when you are home, relax and enjoy senior moments. Senior Moments covers events and activities at senior centers in the Ann Arbor Ypsilanti area, such as the Ann Arbor Senior Center, Turner Senior Research Center, the Pittsfield Senior Center, and the Ann Arbor Community Center. Also, the show provides valuable information for senior citizens on such issues as health, wealth, finance, and entertainment. Senior Moments is a monthly show. It premieres on the last Sunday of the month at 5 p.m. and it reruns 10 times a week on CTN Channel 16. Please check out our website at a2gov.org/CTN for the playback schedule. Also, you can watch the show on YouTube. Just log on to youtube.com/CTN Ann Arbor to view the current and archived shows. This is a difficult time for everyone. However, CTN and the Senior Moments show still continue to serve the community with valuable information for citizens in this time of crisis. So stay tuned for today's show.
Hello, I'm Bonnie Weber. Our guest today is Officer Doug Martelle. Officer Martelle is with the Ann Arbor Police Department, and he works out of the Community Engagement Office. Officer Martelle is going to tell us about some scams that are targeting senior citizens in the Ann Arbor and Washtenaw County area and what we should do to protect ourselves from these scammers. Welcome, Officer Martelle. Thank you for coming today.
Thank you for having me, Bonnie.
But before we get into that, can you just kind of share with us a little bit about yourself?
Absolutely.
Okay.
I've been a police officer here in Ann Arbor for 22 years. As you mentioned, I work out of the Community Engagement Office. We do a number of things out of that office, and one of them being scam programs, particularly with seniors, because it's a vulnerable population, and the scammers really prey on seniors.
So you're talking about education, about the different types of scams that are out there right now. I know personally I've been receiving lately, probably the last 2 months, someone calling, and it really wasn't a real person, it was a recording, so I kind of knew it was a fake. But they're pretending to be from the IRS. And, you know, yeah, this is our last call, and if you don't call us, we're going to take your house away, or whatever. And it was, like I said, it was a recording, so I knew it was fake, so I hung up. Can you tell us a little bit more about these IRS-type scams, and you know, are they real, or what folks can do if they get one of these calls?
Sure. There's a couple of components to those.
Okay.
And one is that, by and large, at least in my experience, the IRS, they do not call you for any reason. Any correspondence you're going to have with the Internal Revenue Service is going to be via mail.
Okay.
You're not going to get emails or phone calls from them.
Okay.
Okay, so they're not going to call you personally and ask for things. And it's usually seasonal. It's right around tax time. So after the first of the year, when people are getting their tax forms and preparing to do their taxes, is when these usually crop up. So sometime in January and through April.
Okay.
And they can be very persuasive. As a matter of fact, my mother-in-law a couple of years ago, she's in her 70s, she got a call from a person claiming to be an IRS agent. Very broken English, was kind of sticking to a script. You could tell he was kind of sticking to a script. It was actually on her voicemail. She didn't actually answer the phone. She wasn't home at the time, but she was pretty alarmed about it. So she called me, the son-in-law and police officer. Hey, will you have to listen to this for me? What do you think of this? I said, oh, that's a scam through and through. So that's one of the things. Another component of the IRS scams, and it's not so much a scam as it's something you can do to protect yourself from them, is file your taxes early. So as soon as you're able to file your taxes, especially obviously if you're if you're going to get a return, usually people want to file them so you can get that money back in your pocket more quickly. But if you are going to get a return and you wait until the very last moment, that gives the people that are of a mind to file a false return in your name, gives them this huge time window in order to file a return. And we get those complaints at the Ann Arbor Police Department right around the end of tax time, where people will file their returns and then they'll get a mailed correspondence, not a phone call or an email, but they'll get something through the U.S. mail from the IRS saying there's a problem with your return. There's already been one filed on your behalf.
Oh
so
my gosh.
There's another component. So there's the phone component of it, and then there's the filing component of it. So this is
scamming the IRS to get your money.
Correct.
Oh
correct.
my
so
gosh.
those are the two components. So how do you protect yourself from them?
Yeah.
One is my general rule is if I don't recognize the number, and we talked about this earlier, if I don't recognize the number when it comes on my telephone, I don't answer the phone.
Okay.
Period. And if I do happen to answer the phone, or one of my kids answers the phone, you don't give any information to the people. If I don't answer the phone and it goes to voicemail and it's somebody that I need to talk to, I just simply call them back. But the general rule is, when the caller ID comes up, I don't answer, and I don't recognize it, I don't answer.
Like if you get people calling you and saying, we want to confirm your social security number, or we want to confirm your address, because I'm thinking to filing an IRS return, they got to have your name, your social security number, they got to have your address, or they'll probably put their address on it because they're stealing your money. And they're trying to get you to confirm that or to give that information to them. And if somebody that you don't know is calling you on the phone and asking you for any personal information, red flags should go up.
Lots of red flags.
It's a scammer.
Correct.
And what do you do when you've got a live scammer on the phone asking you these questions?
You hang up.
You just hang up the phone.
You are not compelled to talk to this person or try to solicit any information. Who are you? Where are you calling from?
Yeah, don't do anything.
The longer you stay on the phone with them, the more vulnerable you'll become, because they can get information from you. There's certain software that they have. They can record your voice, and there's ways that they can actually apply for credit in your name using your voice if they have enough information to go on. So there's a lot of sophistication that goes into these things. Many of them are not that sophisticated. They're just looking. They call it phishing with a PH, not an F.
All right.
So they're phishing for information. And your first line of defense is not to answer the phone. If you end up on the phone with them, don't offer up any type of information whatsoever, no matter how persuasive or savvy they sound, or sometimes threatening.
Don't feel compelled. You have to be polite, or you have to talk to them.
No.
You just hang up the phone. That's really scary. I mean, it really is. The technology is getting so advanced.
Correct.
And they're using it in such, devious ways that I don't think the seniors keep up with that.
Seniors are a very trusting population, and they don't want, they've worked very hard through their lives, and they don't want anything to tarnish their reputation. They don't want to offend anybody.
They don't want to break the law.
They don't want to break the law. And when threatened, faced with some sort of threat by someone on the other end of a telephone line, it can be very compelling for them to do what that person wants them to do.
Yeah, and now that your telephone a lot of times will tell you where the phone call is coming from. If you see like Washington, D.C. or Lansing, Michigan on there, they don't realize now that they can make that fake. That they're not even calling from Washington, or they're not even calling from Lansing.
Right. Absolutely.
It's just coming through on the ID because they have the technology to be able to do that.
Correct. A few years ago there was a jury duty scam going around, and the people that were doing the scam had figured out a way so that when your caller ID came up on your phone, it said something along the lines of Washtenaw County.
Okay.
So that lent some legitimacy to the call. So people were answering the phone, and the person on the other line was very savvy. They would say, I'm so and so from the 22nd Circuit Court. You failed to do your jury duty questionnaire, and you are now in contempt of court.
Oh my
and
gosh.
I'm working under the authorization of Brian Mackey. So they were dropping the
all the names that everybody
they knew
would
the
know.
Names, the correct names to drop.
Yep.
And if you don't go to if you don't give us the number off a prepaid Visa card in the amount of $1,000 or $500, whatever amount they chose to try to solicit out of the person, we're going to issue a warrant for your arrest for contempt
Oh my
of court.
gosh.
So there were people going to CVS or Walgreens and getting these prepaid debit cards and giving this person the number over the phone.
Yeah,
And that's how convincing they were. And I caution folks, if you get anything, say you didn't do your jury duty questionnaire, they're going to send you another letter.
Yes.
They are not going to cold call you and try to solicit money from you.
Yeah, that's
Worst case scenario, you may have a police officer on your
doorstep. They're knocking on the door. A real one.
We need to talk.
Yeah.
But it's going to be a mail correspondence. There's going to be something through the United States Postal Service that says you missed your questionnaire. Please answer this one. Whatever the case may be.
Yeah.
You're not going to get calls from people asking you for money.
Yeah,
that's like we said. That's the red flag.
If anybody calls you and wants you to send them money or give a, I didn't even know about prepaid debit cards until very recently. I didn't realize what those even were, and because I don't even use a debit card, so I didn't even know what prepaid debit card was. But that kind of reminds me of my husband and I we were looking for a motorhome. All right, we're retired, we're thinking about doing a motorhome, and we're looking on Craigslist, and we're looking on Facebook Marketplace, and we found this perfect one. It was just gorgeous, and it was the right size, and it was the right price, and you message them, you don't give me your phone number, you message them, and I get this back, yeah, I'm in the military, I'm getting ready to deploy, so I'm selling my motorhome. And I'm going, great, wonderful, where are you? We'll come look at it, we'll come test drive it. Oh no, I'm getting ready to deploy right now. It's all crated up, it's all ready to ship. It'll be delivered to your house. Just send money to PayPal. They'll hold it for me. They won't even give it to me. The RV will be delivered. You look at it. If you don't like it, PayPal will give you back your money. Now, she was out in North Dakota, so the distance right there threw a red flag to me that's craziness, right? And I'm not going to buy a motorhome without testing it out, but maybe something smaller, someone might have thought that they would do it for, some other small item, they might have said okay and go ahead and sent the money. It was total fake. That wasn't a real PayPal account. They made it up. It was an account that if you wired the money to it, the bank told me the money would have been gone. Once you wire it, it's gone.
Yes.
So if you don't know who the person is, or somebody's calling you up and wants you to wire money to them, or they want a prepaid debit card number, red flag, that's a scammer. That's a scammer. I looked at that invoice on that screen. It looked so real. You never would have thought that it was fake. But
and iTunes cards.
iTunes cards, what are those?
iTunes cards are big now. It's a prepaid card. You go in, you buy a $50 iTunes card. You give your $50 to the cashier. They work their magic, scan it, and it's activated with $50 on it.
Okay.
And then they want you to give you the numbers off the iTunes cards.
So they want an iTunes card.
Once the money's transferred to them via the account number on the card, it's gone.
And there's nothing you can do about it.
You can't trace it back. You can't.
And
there's no face to it.
No.
Put to it for any investigative purposes. It's just a cyber.
And you don't even know where it's going.
It could be in Nigeria for all you know.
Yeah, it could be overseas. It could be anywhere that it would go on there. Yeah, my husband got so upset over the motorhome. He went out on Craigslist, and he went out on Marketplace, and he went to different cities, and he found that exact same one posted in city after city after city after city. And so then we just reported, to the market site and to Craigslist that it was a scam, and to take the site down because they were just trying to get seniors from all over the United States just to send them money.
See how many people they can get to buy the same motorhome.
That's right. That doesn't probably even exist. They probably just took a picture.
It's a photograph from somewhere.
Somebody else's postings. So those are kind of, the technology is just kind of overwhelming. You know, I think maybe that's what happens, you know, with, you know, seniors in our age. Like, it's like I don't use iTunes cards, and so I'm not up to, you know, speed on a lot of that. But just the new scams that keep coming up, I'm almost afraid to ask you, is there any other ones that are targeting seniors in our area?
One of their tactics is they try to tug at your heartstrings too.
Okay.
There's the one where it's the grandchild calling, so they may call and say, "Grandma, guess who this is? Is this David? Yeah, it's David. I'm down in Houston, Texas, and I got in a little trouble and I need some money to get out of jail." Or, you know, whatever the case.
Or I got caught in the hurricane.
Yeah.
Or
you know,
the big things that are going on right now.
I've got a huge car repair. So, you know, whatever their story is, can you send me some money? I need it right away. And so people are falling for that $1,500, $2,000.
Gosh, I mean, how can
and that's how they word it. Is they'll say, "Guess who this is?"
Oh, I see.
And then they say, "Is this David, or is it, you know, is this?"
Well, and I worry too.
They got you hooked.
Yeah, and I worry too about social media. I mean, my grandkids put everything out there, you know, the pictures of where they are and what they're doing, and so there's a lot of information floating around out there, you know, that people can pull down and be able to use it too.
There's some cautions that go with that. You know, don't post when you go out of town. Hey, I'm going. Hey, guess what? I'm going to Hawaii for 2 weeks, and
like my house is ready to be robbed.
I'm flying out on December 3rd. So guess what? The people that are of mind to do breaking and enterings are looking for those, and they can figure out where you live. They'll find out where you live and break into your house while you're gone. The one is very deplorable is the obituaries. Is people will look in obituaries and see when there's funeral services.
Okay.
And then they will see who's associated with that. They may be in the area. And then they'll
figure that you're not home.
They'll check out the home during the time of the funeral services and
target
that home during the funeral service.
So you just got to be aware. I mean, I know that there's
if you have somebody that, sorry to interrupt, but if you have somebody that's going, that you're going to a funeral service, you have a trusted neighbor, say, "We're going to be gone. Are you going to be home during this time? We're going to be gone at the funeral service. Can you keep an eye on our house?"
Keep an eye on the house, because nobody should be here.
Because nobody should be there. If there's a car in the driveway, if you see somebody going up to the house, you know, other than, you know, the brown truck UPS person, or, you know, somebody that looks legitimate. You know,
that they shouldn't be on the property. I know there's been a lot of tragedies lately in the news, and I didn't realize that there was software that searches social media everywhere. It just, you plug a person's name in there, you know, you can go out there and you can search on the internet, you put their name in there, and it pulls back everything that it can find about you off the internet. You know, I mean, everything out there, and pictures, and where you are, and so you just really have to be very careful about what you put up.
You have to be very vigilant.
And once you put it out there, it doesn't really go away. It just kind of floats around
out
there.
Forever.
Floats out there forever. So it's not like you can just take it down and be safe. It's still out there.
Yeah, once you hit send, it's
kind of like it's kind of like when you wire money. It's gone. It's gone. You don't got any chance of getting it back.
I'm not a social media person. My wife does a little bit of Facebook. I wouldn't know the first thing about tweeting or any of those things.
Yeah, I don't
doesn't really interest me. I don't really have time for it.
Yeah.
She does it to keep in touch with, you know, some few
family,
relatives and some high school friends. But other than that, it's but you have to be very careful. But she's got some very strict privacy settings on it, so you know, and I'm not even sure how all that works. Actually, we counted on our 18-year-old to help us set it up because he knew way more.
I know, it's like that's like I've got my 7th grader. Anytime I need any help, Jordan, can you come help me, sweetie? You know, because I don't know what I'm doing.
He's our tech guy. So.
Yeah, that's our tech guys. So there's just a lot going on out there.
There's a lot to be aware of. I mean, you know, you don't want to we don't want to strike the fear into people, but you just have to be aware of what's going on and some of the kind of the fundamental things you can do to protect yourself.
And the way that they can keep aware of what's going on is like coming to these classes.
Correct.
Like the classes
Yes.
that you put on.
Yep. And the AARP
Okay.
is very active
Okay.
in setting up and through their website, you know, what tends to be going around, what ways to protect yourself from, you know,
So they can do
certain
some
scams.
research on AARP. They can keep an eye out on Turner when you guys are offering classes up
Correct.
there.
Correct.
You said in Glacier Hills. Maybe you'll expand a little bit more. So do you go to classes or do you go to seminars to keep up on what's going on? And that's kind of how you build your education out there?
Yeah, we went to one, actually it was through the Turner Center. One of the attorney generals from the state of Michigan was there.
Okay.
And she was very, I mean, as you imagine, she was very well informed. And it was kind of her specialty. So we learned a lot from there. And then working out of the community engagement unit, there's other police departments that have community engagement units. And so monthly we get together and we just kind of share information. You know, so it's very informal what we're doing, what some trends are that we might be seeing in our areas, and then we share information about what are the touchy subjects with seniors and things and scams that may be going on. And it's just like I said, a very informal meeting, and we learn that way too.
Well, since it seems like this is just continuing to get more sophisticated and spreading out more, is there anything on the horizon nationally that might be being done to help kind of make people aware of these scams or try to figure out what's going on with these scams?
Absolutely. There's actually we had a meeting yesterday, and the FBI, the local FBI office they were the hosts. And there's a federal website, and I actually visited it today, and it's very simple to remember. It's just the letter I, the letter C, the number 3.gov. So IC3.gov.
IC3.gov.
And from what they described to me, it's a website that you can report scams.
Oh, that's very good.
And then what they're doing, and this is an indicator of how serious this is and how widespread it is and how costly it is to people, is that they are compiling data based on these reports that they're getting from people, and trying to link, okay, these scams are coming from this country, or these scams tend to come from this part of the United States. And so they're linking this information, building some intelligence, and then trying to go after the folks that are doing these so that they can break these down. You know, and there's a couple of things that, just general rules that it's important to be able to protect yourself. And one of them is, and it seems very simple, but it really kind of goes over people's heads sometimes, is if I have a question, I get my credit card statement, and I look at my credit card statement, I think, this is odd, because this happened to us. We had this a bogus charge from Madrid on and it was right after Christmas. And I didn't buy a computer, and my wife didn't buy a computer, so we called the credit card company. And so there's the difference, is we're calling the 1-800 number on our statement. So we're initiating that contact with a credit card company. If somebody calls you claiming to be your Chase Bank or your Discover card or your, whatever it is, American Express, there should be a red flag going up for you. Because they're not going to call you, especially to solicit information from you. Now we've put, after we had that problem with that, we put a blocker on our credit card. So we traveled, and we were down in Florida, and we used our credit card at a gas pump. And so we got a call on our phone. We see that your credit card's being used in Florida. Are you, blah, blah, blah. They didn't ask any personal information, no credit card account information, nothing. They just said, we see that your card, we have an alert that your card's being used in Florida. We know you live in Michigan. And so that was legit, but they didn't. The thing is, they're not asking for any information for free. No social security number, no address, no date of birth, no account information. When you get those calls, then that should be a red flag. Don't give them anything.
Well, the time has just flown by, but I want to give you the opportunity. Is there anything else you'd like to share with our audience before we close the show out today?
Yeah, just a couple of the high points that we
Mhm.
touched on, just as a reminder. You know, when your phone rings and you don't recognize the number,
Mhm.
simply don't answer it. Don't worry about being rude or discourteous. Just let it go to voicemail. If it's important,
Mhm.
you have the luxury of listening to the message,
Mhm.
seeing who it is, and calling them back if you want. You know,
Yes.
if they leave a message and this is the IRS, and if you don't call back, we're going to fly a black helicopter over your house.
Uh-huh.
Uh, then that's bogus.
Then they can, yeah, that's bogus,
That's
and
bogus.
like what your
What my
mother-in-law did. You know, it's like,
experienced.
hey, what do you think? Does he think
Right,
this is
yeah,
legit or not? You
right,
know, and
yeah.
and it's not.
And trust your gut.
Mm-hmm.
If you have to ask that question, is this legit? Chances are it's
Sure,
not.
it's not.
It's
Yep.
not if you're asking that question. And you know, pay attention to your emails. I don't know, you know, this population tends not to be super internet savvy kind of thing, but some folks do some shopping online.
Yep.
So pay attention to your credit card. You know, if you're doing credit card shopping online, make sure you keep an eye on that. You get free credit reports. So we urge folks, especially after the holidays, to run your credit report. You get 3 free a year, so every 4 months you can do a free one. A little worried about Equifax right now.
Yeah, not
so
Equifax,
you might want to
yeah.
just go to TransUnion and
not Equifax.
and Aspirian, those two, because you know, like 143 million people. That's a little worrisome. But you do get a couple free a year. You know, you get 3, but I think I would shy away from the third one, and take a look at it and see what it looks like.
Well, thank you so much for joining us today.
It was a pleasure.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us on Senior Moments. And remember to wear your mask, not just for yourself, but for others who may come in contact with you outside of your home. I'm Linda Brayman. Please stay safe and stay healthy.